During his flight to Poland, Pope Francis, in speaking about terrorist attacks which had taken place in recent weeks, including the slaying of a Catholic priest in Normandy, was quoted as saying that religions are not to blame for the violence. Rather, greed is the culprit. According to Reuters, the Pope said the attacks are not a war of religion. There is a war of interests. There is a war for money. There is a war for natural resources. There is a war for domination of peoples. This is the war, he said. All religions want peace. Others want war. Do you understand? All religions want peace? Are you kidding me? The reason many of these terrorist attacks are happening is because the individuals committing them believe they are commanded by the Quran to do so. Sounds pretty religiously motivated if you ask me. For example, Surah 929 in the Quran states, "Fight against those who do not obey Allah and do not believe in Allah or the last day, and do not forbid what has been forbidden by Allah and His Messenger, even if they are of the people of the book," meaning the Bible, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. It is religious scriptures like these that ISIS uses to justify their terrorist attacks. It's part of their jihad, their holy war. They want to take over the world and force people to submit to Allah. Not to mention, I just watched a video about Iran in which they showed Muslims in a mosque chanting death to America, England, and Israel. Doesn't sound very peaceful if you ask me. That's not to say that all Muslims are violent. Obviously, if all Muslims were violent terrorists, we would have much more terrorist attacks around the world with the 1.5 billion Muslims in existence. Fortunately, most of them are peaceful, but there are some places and groups where a strict, literal adherence to the Quran and Sharia law is enforced, and that leads to a lot of violence and oppression. Not to mention, the Roman Catholic Church doesn't have the best track record of peace either. Let's not forget about the Inquisition, which lasted for about 600 years. Anyone who was deemed a heretic was tortured and punished, which sometimes included death. Heretics were anyone who was considered a Jew, Muslim, Protestant, rationalist, and sometimes people who held superstitious beliefs. Estimates of the victims who died of torture and in prison cells as a result of torture and maltreatment are believed to number over 100,000 people. And that's only during the Inquisition. There were other methods the Roman Catholic Church used to kill heretics, including crusades and wars, which actually led to the extermination of millions of people. So far as all religions wanting peace, if I was you, Pope Francis, I would just can it. Now, the Roman Catholic Church doesn't openly persecute heretics today because it doesn't have the same power and authority as it did in times past, as in the Middle Ages. But that will change. In Revelation chapter 17, verses 12 through 14, it describes the nations of the world in the end time, using the symbolism of horns, uniting with the papacy, which it calls the beast, to make war against Jesus, which it calls the Lamb. It states, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful." To make war against Jesus, the Lamb, actually means to persecute the followers of Jesus. For example, when Saul was persecuting Christians in the New Testament, Jesus came to him in a vision in Acts chapter 9 verse 4 and said, "Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me?" Therefore, whatever is done against Christians, Jesus takes that personally. Consequently, before the second coming of Jesus, the world will unite with the Roman Catholic Church in order to persecute Christians who will not go along with their union and agenda, who will not accept the mark of the beast. If you want to know more about that, please watch my video entitled 10 Facts About the Mark of the Beast Satan Doesn't Want You to Know. I'll leave a link to it in the card on the upper right hand corner of the screen. Now let's get back to that Reuters article because I think the Pope said something significant in terms of the mark of the beast. because he talked about a war for money, among other things. And if there's a war for money, the implication here is that something needs to be done in order to get a better control of global finances. This is not the first time that Pope Francis criticized the current global financial system. According to the National Catholic Reporter, in Bolivia in July of 2015, Pope Francis called the current global financial system intolerable. He was quoted as saying, "Farm workers find it intolerable, laborers find it intolerable, communities find it intolerable, peoples find it intolerable, the earth itself, our sister, Mother Earth, as St. Francis would say, also finds it intolerable." In the same speech, Pope Francis called for a truly communitarian economy. One might say an economy of Christian inspiration. In other words, our economy needs to change, and that is exactly what is going to happen before the mark of the beast is enforced. Revelation chapter 13 verse 17 says that when the mark of the beast is enforced, those who reject it will not be able to buy or sell. In other words, there will have to be a financial system in place which will be able to monitor and control everybody's spending. There will have to be a global cashless society, and we are heading in that direction. Once again, I go into more detail about that in my video, 10 facts about the mark of the beast Satan doesn't want you to know. So make sure to check that out. Pope Francis is overlooking the obvious when he says that there is no religious wars being waged on earth. One of the reasons he may be saying that is because he is actually trying to unite all religions together and he doesn't want to offend anyone. And he has also called for a reform in the current global economy, which the Bible indicates will need to take place to set the stage for the mark of the beast. As foreboding as all this may sound, remember that Revelation tells us that the Lamb, Jesus Christ, will overcome Satan's efforts to dominate the world. Even though it may look like Satan is gaining success, it will be short-lived. Jesus will return to bring Satan's reign on this world to a swift end and will ultimately establish his kingdom of righteousness. If you'd like to learn more about this and many other subjects of the Bible, please click on the link to the free online Bible study guides in the description box. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Also, if you want email alerts directly to your email inbox of my future uploads, when you subscribe, make sure you click the gear icon next to the subscribe button on my channel page and click on the send me all notifications for this channel checkbox and click save. That way, you'll never miss another upload of mine. Feel free to check out my live stream on friendlife.com as well. You can join me on PC or download the FriendLife app to your smartphone. And you can find a link to my live stream in the description box. I stream several times a week, especially on the weekends, and I post notifications when I stream to Twitter, so make sure and follow me there. God bless.